Hi, it's Joy Griggs with Obsidian Wisdom. Today we'll be answering the question, what questions should I ask when choosing a financial planner? So when it comes to choosing a financial planner, you really just have a certain amount of time with them, and then you're going to make that decision. This decision shouldn't be overstated where it's like, oh, if I make the wrong decision, I'm stuck with this person forever. Realistically, your relationship probably should be reevaluated every year or so. I mean, you could try to do it sooner, like if it's like a really glaring red flag, but you probably need to at least give them a year so you can see where we're at, how things are going, how you feel about the plan and just their process and things of that nature. But with that said, if you just have the feeling, then you can make the decision any earlier as you want. Ideally, if you ask these 8 questions that I'm going to go over, you won't have any of those worrisome experiences where it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you felt that way. Now I'm very uncomfortable. What am I going to do? Where you're like, okay, I think I at least have a good feeling about this person. And so we'll go over those 8 questions, and then hopefully it will help you when you're making that decision of who you should hire as your financial planner. Some of these questions are going to have the ability to be used with other professions, but we are focusing on hiring a financial planner. So most entrepreneurs and families, they worry about money. So we created the Wisdomites framework to help eradicate financial stress, generate a passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy. So the first question is, are you a fiduciary? So the fiduciary is just a standard by law, a financial planner. If they are a registered investment advisor representative, then you would say, okay, are you a fiduciary? And the answer would be yes, based on did I write it down? Yeah, based on the Investment Advisors Act of 1940. A fiduciary is just a way of saying, I have to put your best interest ahead of my own, even by law, right? Or it's just an extra standard. Now, fiduciary, at the end of the day, it just means like there's some examples, and I usually give kind of the same one where it's like, look, if I was to enact a trade for myself at like 11 a.m., I did it for you at like 11:05 a.m., and the trade made more money for me than it did for you, I would have to switch our positions so that you would have the better profit because I have to do what's in your best interest. And so this standard that we are held to is very beneficial. So it's usually going to be a great place to start your questionings. The other option, in case you're wondering, okay, if they're not a fiduciary, what are they? They're on what's called the suitability standard. Suitable just means that it has to make reasonable sense based on your age or maybe your goal and your income for a general person. So if you're saying, look, I'm 5 years from retirement, well, then it may make sense to give you a certain type of an investment versus if someone said they're 10 years from retirement. It may not be based on what your specific needs are in your specific situation, but it's suitable, right? I can explain reasonably why this was the decision I made, even if your specific needs didn't require that. Now, some of you are going to say, it's not that big of a difference between a fiduciary and a suitable, but I'll tell you that when you're talking about your money, that ultimately it is, because you are making a long-term commitment and you don't want to be wasting too much of your time. So you just want to have that comfort up front that this person is looking out for my best interest, and they're going to be held to that standard where if they don't, they would be responsible for that. They would be held accountable. And if they are only supposed to be suitable, you don't really have that recourse. They just explain that this makes sense for someone at this age, and that's why I did it. And then that's the end of the discussion. So you just want to give yourself as much protection as you can. And so that's why I would start there. Number 2 is you want to ask how they get paid. So when someone gets paid, then you know a lot about them. If you get paid, do you get paid based on assets under management? Do you charge a fee? Do you have tiers? Like, do I pay monthly or annually? Do we, how do you get your money? Because if someone gets paid directly from you, then they have less conflicts of interest than if someone gets paid a commission. Right? I'm not saying, everyone who gets paid a commission, they are going to steal your money. But I am saying that if someone gets paid a commission, then that means inherently there is a conflict of interest baked into the cake. They're only paid to broker the relationship, which means they work for a brokerage firm. And then when they broker the relationship, when they set you up with the broker, then they get paid some sort of a commission. And then their commission is going to be structured based on the type of products that they get you to sign up for, the ones that they recommend. So if they get paid like 1% of the commission for one product, but they get paid 51% of the commission for a different product, then they have a conflict of interest. Not to say that they're going to choose the 51% product, Not to say that if they have like some sort of a monthly contest for a trip to like the Bahamas, that they're going to be trying to get that trip to the Bahamas. But I am saying that they do have a conflict of interest when you get paid a commission. And so you just want to know how they get paid. Do they have any sort of kickbacks? Do they have any incentives? Like, how do they get paid? And if they get paid from, assets under management, you then would want to know if they have like a minimum or something of that nature. And then you just keep that in mind as well, that whatever they get paid on, that's ultimately going to be in the back of their mind as far as how they make their money. The way I would describe it is it's no different than if you went to a casino and a dealer was perfectly above board. They shuffled the cards well. They dealt the cards out well. It did not seem like they're doing anything wrong or misleading. But it doesn't change the fact that if you go to the casino, that there's a built-in edge for the casino. So if the dealer does everything right, the casino is still going to win the majority of the time. And that is a conflict of interest. And that happens in our industry as well. And so if someone gets paid where there is this, basically they're the dealer for a casino, then you know that the casino has set the game up to where they're going to be benefiting 51% of the time to your 49. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind. Number 3 is just, what is your education, skills, training, your background? Have they always been in finance? Did they switch from something? Do they have a degree in like economics or something? Do they have like certifications like a CFP or a CFA or just whatever it is? You just want to know what's their background. How long have they been in the industry? What companies have they worked for? What brought them there? You just want to know whether they have any certifications, any professional training, or whether they worked at a different firm and kind of have unofficial to apprentice type of training. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you understand their background and why they got into it. Number 4 is, what type of clients do you specialize in? This tells you a lot about the advisor. Do they work with families? Do they work with businesses? Do they specialize in retirement or like business planning or tax preparation? Like, there's so many aspects of financial planning, that you really want to be able to say, what does this person specialize in? And, for example, if someone's maybe in their 20s, realistically, they say everybody's kind of within like 10 years of their age. So if you're in your 20s, then you probably are specializing with young adults, family starting, maybe people getting out of debt, paying off college loans, maybe even, large purchases like a house, whatever it is that's usually going to be in that area of your life. And when you're in a young adult phase, when you're kind of in mid-level, then you may be starting your business, or you may be planning for your kids' college and you've already paid off yours, or maybe you haven't. You want to get heavier into retirement because you see the horizon. You want to make sure that you're prepared for it. And then when people are a little bit older, they start even focusing even more on like long-term care and the different things that you'll be planning there. And so you want to just figure out, what is their specialty? What are they working in? Does that make sense for me? What's their ideal client? Maybe what do their clients have in common? People end up having specialties, even if they don't inherently know that they have one, it ends up working that way. So for me, I tend to work with people who believe that the world could be left better than you found it, who believe it's our job to, educate the next generation, make sure things are working out for them, that they believe that they have this ability to help people in that service first mentality. And so a lot of times they end up being like optimistic entrepreneurs, where they're really like, what, this is a problem that I'm going to solve. And as a result, I will figure out how to solve it. And as you start solving it, a business is really the best way to leverage your ability to solve that problem on scale. And so I end up working with young families in general, and also work a lot with entrepreneurs. I do a lot of work in my community as well. It's just one of those things that most of my clients, they fall within one of these 3 buckets. That's something that generally always happens, because when you talk to me, you'll just be like, okay, well, that makes sense. Dre's also a business owner. Dre loves working in the community, wants to leave the world better for his kids and other future generations. He wants to, be able to be that service first. I'm a firm believer that freedom is what we all seek, and financial constraints ends up being the number one reason that people don't achieve their freedom. 68% of people retire broke every day. 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck. The numbers show that a lot of us are doing things that we wouldn't be doing if we had the finances to do something else. And so that is my passion. That's what I love doing. And so you would ask these questions. Hey, what is it that your clients have in common? What is it that you specialize in? Things like that. Number 5, we have just what is your investment philosophy? So the numbers show that about 65% of actively run funds tend to underperform, just like index funds. Index funds is where you just have the stock of basically everything in that particular index. So like the S&P 500. So you have a little piece of all of the funds, and it's weighted in the way that the funds are and the capitalization in the market. And it ends up being a pretty good, low cost, efficient way if you are someone who doesn't want to spend the time figuring out the different strategies. And if you don't want to spend the time, it just doesn't end up working out. As you've seen over the past 15 years, or really any 15-year span, there's most companies or most hedge funds do not outperform the just regular stock market. Most mutual funds do not outperform the stock market. Does that mean that all of my clients end up having low-cost index funds? Well, no. Some of them have very specific needs where they will make sense to have actively managed funds. But for most people, you don't need that. We have a goal that we're going to set. We have a number to set it, and we have a time frame to accomplish that goal. And we're going to accomplish that goal in that particular time frame. If you have any additional questions about retirement planning, I invite you to check out my free retirement plan that works video training at obsidianwisdom.com/training. In it, I give you the entire Wisdometric framework that I use with my clients to help them eradicate financial stress, generate a passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy. So number 6 is, what services do you provide your client? So this comes in a little bit with what the specialization is, but if you felt like you didn't really get deep into it, the services that you offer is just going to be like, look, hey, I do college planning or tax preparation. I do business planning and succession planning. I do retirement planning, debt strategies, whatever it really is that you're trying to look for. These are going to be different services that different advisors are going to offer. You're not going to be a one-size-fits-all where you offer everything to everyone. There's going to be something that you focus on, and then you offer that. And then 7, you'll want to know just how often do you meet. They're going to meet monthly, quarterly, annually. Who do I meet with? Are you going to be where I meet with you? Am I going to always meet with a relationship manager or a junior advisor, something like that? Or do you do something that we do at Obsidian Wisdom where it's more of a team structure? So it's basically the way your doctor's office is. You go into the doctor's office, there's going to be like the people that you meet, that the receptionist in the front. You're going to meet doctors and nurses. There's going to be different people that do different stations, but they all work together to give you that experience. As long as you understand that, that's basically the same idea. I like it because if any one person is not there, you still get the same service that you always get because so many people end up touching and working on your file. And then from there, you can decide, look, I want to meet just the advisor, the junior advisor. I want to meet with a relationship manager. I want to meet with a tax person, or I want to meet with all of you, right? That's your choice. We just have that team environment where everyone's able to kind of pick up and help you out. And so you just want to be able to understand just how often you meet and who you would meet with. And then the last question is, right, how do you define success for your client? Most people define it with the money. Right. How much money did I get each year? I do think that matters because financially we're trying to achieve certain freedom. So obviously you have to have the money to match it. But I do find that is overlooking really the whole point of why you even have a financial planner. And the real reason that you have one is you have certain goals in your life. You have short-term, medium-term, long-term goals of things that you want to accomplish. You simply understand and believe that financially you have to get your money right to be able to live a certain life that you want. I would say that the goal is always to mirror the two. Tell me what it is that you want as your lifestyle, and then we can assign a dollar value to say, okay, well, that would cost this much, this would cost this much, and then we can say, okay, based on your short-term goals, we need to put this much money here. Based on your medium-term goals, we need to put that much money there. Based on your long-term goals, we need to have this much money by this point in time. But it's a better measurement of happiness with how many goals did you set that we were able to check off. Right, the money's going to be there. You can't take it with you. but you really are looking to make sure, okay, what type of experiences was I able to live in my life? What type of legacy was I able to leave for my loved ones? Was I able to set them up where they already have their freedom? And now they don't have to really be worrying about money as much. As Warren Buffett says, you want your kids to have enough money where they don't have to worry about money, but you don't want them to have so much money that they have no interest in working. They have no desire to do anything. You don't want to quench their thirst to solve a problem and to leave the world as a better place. But I would find that measuring success by the goals that you set and whether you accomplish those goals makes a lot more sense than just worrying about a dollar value, right? We're not just trying to fill up a bunch of money to swim in a pool of money like Scrooge McDuck. We believe that the money is going to give us the freedom that we want to be able to devote time to our family, to traveling, to supporting causes that we believe in, to starting the business, to working when, where, and how we want. And that's true in many ways. But if you forget what it is, the lifestyle that you're seeking, you'll just have the money and you'll be missing the lifestyle. So I find that that's the best measurement of success for me. If you're someone that's just trying to measure the dollars and cents, then it probably won't be the best match, because I believe whatever the goals are that you set, we put a plan to accomplish that, and then we accomplish that, and then we celebrate that. And so if, basically you ask these 8 questions, you should be able to know whether that financial planner is going to be right for you, whether it makes sense for you and in your long-term goals, and then you can go from there. Until next time, Wisdomites, remember, wisdom is asking the right questions to allow yourself to get the right answers. Keep asking those questions and you will keep getting those answers. Continue blessings.